Welcome back to another episode of the Rightsy Executive Interview Series, the Voices of Higher Education edition. We are here at the NACE Conference 2024 in Phoenix, Arizona, and we are here with Branden Grimmett of Emory University. Welcome to the interview.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. So, the purpose of us doing these interviews is to share knowledge nuggets and just, share your story, share your institution story and what you guys are doing to help students. And so, please let everybody know who you are, what your role is, what your university is, and what you guys do in your role.
Absolutely. My name is Branden Grimmett. I'm the Vice Provost for Career and Professional Development at Emory University, and I'm also the Associate Dean of Emory College, overseeing something called the Pathway Center. And the Pathway Center is a new division at Emory University that brings together career services, undergraduate research, national scholarships and fellowships, pre-health advising, and experiential learning to help students think about what they're doing in college and how that leads to career outcomes. Emory's in Atlanta, Georgia, a nice metropolitan hub, and I've been there for about 2 years now.
Awesome. And how are you loving it?
Loving it. It's a little bit of a change from moving from Los Angeles, but the airport in Atlanta gets you anywhere you need to go.
That's true.
Got me here to Phoenix as well.
Yeah. So have you always been in higher education, or is this a new field for you?
I've mostly been in higher education for the past 20 years or so. I've worked for 5 other universities in the Northeast and the West Coast and Midwest as well. But I've been focused on career services that entire time.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you've been in career services your whole pretty much career in higher education.
I have. I grew up as a musician, and so I still kind of dabble in the arts
Okay.
on the side. But
What do you play?
I'm an organist and pianist.
Okay.
And I do some Broadway producing actually at the moment. So
Nice.
involved in some theater productions in New York, but my main focus is higher education.
Gotcha. And you said your major was what?
I was a music and religion major.
Oh, wow.
undergrad.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then what made you want to become career services? What was that?
I went and got my master's degree focused on religion and religious diversity. And as I was exiting that program, I was really interested in helping organizations and government agencies in particular navigate these kind of cultural conversations around religious extremism, for instance. And as I got out of that work and working in federal government for just a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
on the civil rights side of things, I discovered that my passion and some of my skills aligned really well with helping people prepare for their careers and think about how their values map with the kinds of things they want to do in the future. So I did a little stint in executive recruiting,
Okay.
where as a 26 or 27-year-old, I was actually coaching candidates for provost and president roles
Oh, wow.
at universities, and I felt really underprepared for that.
Comes full circle.
But it allowed me to kind of upskill and be a little bit more confident in helping people, ace that interview.
What are you seeing at Emory now that you've created this new pathway in terms of like software and tools and resources as it relates to AI and different things like that? Are you seeing students utilizing these tools and resources? Does your school have these tools and resources? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Emory traditionally is known for its prowess in healthcare and in science.
Okay.
We are, the largest employer of the state of Georgia. The CDC leases land from Emory. Every COVID test in the country was tested at Emory, and because of our relationship with the federal government, for instance. But we've moved actually into an AI space, and our provost has hired around 60 faculty across all the different curricular areas
Oh,
that
wow.
have an AI focus, right? And so the goal is, even if you're studying law or medicine or business, you're still going to learn from those professors that have a little bit of knowledge about artificial intelligence. And the great thing about that is that you don't have to be a computer science major to learn about AI. You need to think about the ethics of AI, about how it shows up in culture and how it impacts our work. So what's great about that is that we're able to really help students harness that technology, not just for their learning, but also for preparedness for interviews, for thinking about how they acquire knowledge really quickly and maybe get started on a paper, but then make sure that it's their own and it's their own words and there's no kind of duplication, for instance.
That's the challenge, right? On one side of the coin, the challenge is just getting people to adopt the technology and wanting to learn it. But then on the other side of the coin is utilizing it and then sounding like a robot.
Right.
Because then it sounds like AI. So how do you bring those two things together? Are you guys, do you guys have programs at Emory that, that teach AI, or is it just, each individual I guess, major has AI faculty that's teaching it, but is there any type of like AI programs that you guys have?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. The AI.Humanity initiative is one of our Provost initiatives,
Oh
and
wow,
that's the one that
tell us about
actually
that.
led to the hiring of all those faculty.
Okay.
And so again, the goal there is to not just hire faculty that are focused on AI in the technology space, but to really thinking about a liberal arts skill set and education that touches on technology as well. I would say the other piece is that we've got a Center for AI Learning at Emory, which is located in the library. And just even symbolically, what that means for our students is that, sure, historically libraries have had physical books and collections. AI, of course, is not physical, but to have that rooted in our library at Emory, which is the Woodruff Library, that's symbolically, I think, letting our students know the importance of this skill that they need to learn, no matter what their major is, no matter what their career objective might be.
That's awesome. And do you guys have a lot of maybe underrepresented students at your school?
We do, we
And,
do.
and are you guys implementing any like diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives across your campus and stuff like that?
Constantly, we have a new general education requirement for our students, and part of that is that they have to have an experience outside the classroom. So that means that they're either doing an internship, undergraduate research, or an education abroad program. And I mention that because it's not only great for getting them prepared for the world of work, it also gets them outside of the bubble
Mm,
of a campus environment, which
makes
is
sense.
where they're more likely to encounter difference,
Mm-hmm.
and difference that maybe is not as protected as you might find on a campus. And so our students are encountering
Very
other
good point.
cultures, they're encountering political dialogues that they need to navigate. And the goal is not necessarily to convince someone of what you believe, but to really coexist and collaborate and to have a healthy relationship with people that are different from you.
100%. I personally have been working in DEI for years and really trying to figure out that balance of like not just these institutions or companies checking boxes, but like what are you actually doing to really help have long-term success with it. So it's good to hear that you're doing that. What would you say some of the significant challenges students face in the current job market, and how is your career services department addressing those?
I would say the biggest challenge that we face at Emory is not a challenge unique to us, but just a challenge that's specific to a population going to college. It's that they've got 12 years of education, typically before they come to college, and that education has prepared them for the academic pursuit of knowing what a class is, knowing how to, follow the syllabus and prepare for all of that. But they've increasingly had 0 years of career experience, and what they do know about the world of work has come either from the media or what their parents know or what their family has taught them.
Sure.
And of course, when we think about DEI and are the different kinds of students that we enroll, there's different access to opportunities and different access to models of career development. So what I see typically is that, again, because Emory is known in healthcare, we have a large percentage of students that understand medicine, but maybe don't understand the 15 other careers that they could be pursuing, including optometry, dentistry, veterinary medicine, health policy, that kind of thing.
Sure.
We also have students that know that law is a field because, again, that's represented pretty robustly in the media, and then business, right? The reality is that we've got, careers in creative community, we've got careers in environmental justice. And so we're really focused on making sure that students know that there's a world bigger than business, medicine, and law. And we've got career coaches attached to 8 different career communities that help normalize those paths for our students.
Oh, nice. And you said you were a career coach before, correct?
I was, yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, that's not too long ago.
I mean, I think it's important, especially if you're leading these kinds of
Sure.
initiatives, to have grown up in the field and to be able to understand what it is that you're asking your teams to do.
100%, 100%. Lead by example, and be the one that you're not just teaching about theory. You actually are doing what it is that you're teaching, right? Like,
Walking the walk.
do you want the guy that has a PhD in war strategy, or do you want the guy that's never been to college but's been to 20 wars and has been a vet for that long?
Right.
Right. It's one of those things, and then when you have both, it's a win-win.
Exactly.
So tell us, what's been the most rewarding thing that you've had since you've been in this field? And it's probably a lot of things, but what are some of the things that has been the most rewarding thing for you?
I think in the field broadly, I've been working in this field for almost 2 decades. And so I've been doing this long enough to not just see students come to the university that I'm attending or working at and get the skills that they need, but I've actually been able to see them get those skills and get those competencies and graduate and land jobs that then set them up for long-term success. So one example from a couple institutions ago is a student who really thought that she wanted to work in the field of law, but had never met a lawyer, had never been in a law firm, had never taken a law school class. And to make that kind of commitment is a huge leap
Sure.
of faith if you're not going to kind of test out your ideas of career identity. I worked with her to set her up with some shadowing opportunities. And so she spent actually an entire summer shadowing, a private sector attorney, a legal advocate, a public defender, etc. She knew after the summer was over that she absolutely wanted to be a lawyer, and that was kind of validating for her. She then went on to go to law school, and then she worked on some political campaigns, and she's currently the assistant press secretary for the vice president of the United States.
Wow.
Right? A legal background helps to have that, it helps to have that in the role, but to be able to work in the field long enough to see the arc of success that our students and alumni are achieving is really, really powerful.
That's really cool. That's really cool. If you can give one piece of advice to a new career services employee that's coming into this field, what would it be in order to obtain long-term success?
I would say that you're going to know a lot about what you're doing initially in the role, but the world of work is going to change constantly. And so don't get too used to the industries that you might be working with or even how that work happens, but really fall in love with the fact that you're helping students learn how to navigate a very ambiguous space that's very different than an academic environment. And let's be frank, in a classroom, you've got a syllabus and instruction, you've got deadlines, and everything's really clear. Once you get into an internship of the world of work, very ambiguous,
Whole
right?
different matter.
That's the thing that will always be the constant.
Mm-hmm.
What we call the skills and what's needed by employers is going to change. And what our students want, what they care about is also going to change. I think the current generation right now is really clear about the issues plaguing our society and their own lives. What they need our help on is knowing what lens to navigate and solve those issues, right? You can solve them from a business lens, from a social justice lens, from a climate lens, from an inclusion lens. And for me, that's really fulfilling work because we get to show our students that pathway.
That's super cool. Now, let's take the flip side of the coin. Can I get one piece of advice to a new student that is coming into Emory, maybe knowing or maybe not knowing what their career path is, and what would you recommend them do in order to obtain collegiate success?
Yeah, I would say that it just requires a slight shift of mindset. A lot of the language around career development is finding your purpose, finding your career path. Finding is a term that implies that what you're looking for is outside yourself. If we think about things like belonging, for instance, a lot of students in college feel lonely because they feel like they don't belong. They're making this transition from high school to college. That's usually coming with a cultural leap. If they're an international student coming to the United States, if they're from the rural area coming to a metro area, what I think both of those problems have in common is that we imagine finding belonging or finding a job as outside of ourselves, but we can actually create belonging. We can create some energy that allows us to develop our career, right? Even from an interest that no one else has.
Yeah.
And so I think reminding our students and reminding ourselves, even that work in this field, that we already have inside us what we need to develop this plan. The plan is not external to us.
Oh man, that's game right there, guys. I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that. Before we get out of here, can you let everybody know, like, how can they find you? Like, where can they, connect with you online at?
Absolutely. Branden Grimmett, Grimmett. I spell my name Branden with an E-N, which will be helpful.
We have a Branden too.
Okay, great.
And it's an O-N.
Nice. I'm active on LinkedIn, active on Twitter and X, and do quite a bit of speaking out there. And so look me up, reach out to me. I'm really responsive on email.
Okay, absolutely. Well, thank you for joining this series, and thank you for just spreading the knowledge and talking to us. And we look forward to connecting with you in the future.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Well, that's another Rightsy Executive Interview Series, Voices of Higher Education Edition. Thank you so much. We are here at the NACE Conference in 2024, Phoenix, Arizona. Peace and love.